The Path to Inner Peace, Jake's Journey to Simple Living. Before starting the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. In the Silicon City, where the rhythm of life was dictated by deadlines and noise, lived Jake, a man who seemed to have it all. He was an engineer, living in a luxurious apartment filled with the latest technology, driving a high-end car, and wearing the finest suits. But despite all this, Jake was deeply unhappy. He often found himself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, feeling empty. His thoughts wandered to a question he couldn't answer. Was this it? Each morning was a rush. He'd wake up early, feeling more tired than the night before, quickly shower, grab his coffee, and head out to catch the crowded subway to work. The city never slept, and neither did its residents. People hurried about, always looking busy, always chasing something. Jake was no different. His mind was consumed by his job, the endless meetings, the coding tasks, the upcoming presentations, and the constant emails that never seemed to stop. But each day, a hollow sense of dissatisfaction grew within him. At the sleek, modern office where he worked, Jake's desk was a mess, papers strewn about, coffee mugs piled up, and sticky notes reminding him of the countless things he had yet to do. His phone buzzed with notifications, and the sound of clicking keyboards and hushed conversations filled the air. Despite being good at what he did, Jake often felt a nagging sense of dissatisfaction. Success wasn't bringing him the happiness he thought it would. The shiny accolades and raises left him wanting more, but not in the way he had expected. More of what, exactly? One Friday evening, after another long, tiring week at work, Jake found himself on the same crowded subway heading back home. The thought of spending the weekend in front of the TV or his computer didn't appeal to him anymore. He felt disconnected, not just from others but from himself. That night, as he lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, Jake made a decision. He'd break away from his routine, if only for a day, and explore the city beyond his usual routes. The next morning, Jake put on a pair of comfortable shoes and headed out, leaving his phone behind for the first time in years. It was a small rebellion, but it felt significant. He walked through neighborhoods he had never visited, eventually finding himself at a quiet park tucked away from the city's hustle. The park was a serene, green space, a small oasis in the midst of the urban jungle. Families played, people jogged, and the trees swayed gently in the breeze. The air was different here, cleaner, calmer. As Jake strolled through the park, he noticed an elderly man sitting on a bench, feeding pigeons. There was something about the man's calm demeanor, the way he sat with such peace in the middle of the city, that intrigued Jake. Without really knowing why, Jake found himself walking over to the man. "Mind if I sit here?" Jake asked. The old man smiled warmly and gestured to the space beside him. "Not at all. It's a free world." Jake sat down, unsure of what to say. After a few moments of silence, the old man turned to him. "You look like you've got a lot on your mind." Jake chuckled, though it was more out of discomfort than humor. "Yeah, you could say that. Just life, I guess." The old man nodded knowingly. Life in the city can do that to you. All that noise, all that pressure to keep going, keep achieving. It can make you forget what's really important. "Yeah, I've been feeling that a lot lately," Jake admitted. "I thought if I got everything, good job, nice apartment, all the stuff, I'd be happy. But I'm not. I feel lost." The old man smiled kindly, a twinkle in his eye. "I've seen many people like you. My name's Mr. Eric, by the way." "Jake," he replied, shaking the man's hand. "Nice to meet you, Jake." Mr. Eric said. "You know, I wasn't always this calm. I used to be caught up in that same race. But then, one day, I realized that the things I was chasing weren't making me happy. So, I started letting go, piece by piece." "Letting go?" Jake echoed, intrigued. Mr. Eric nodded. "I simplified my life. Got rid of the things that didn't matter, stopped worrying about things I couldn't control, and started focusing on what truly brought me peace. It wasn't easy at first, but the more I let go, the lighter I felt." Jake listened intently. It was as if Mr. Eric had put into words the very thing he had been feeling but couldn't express. "Here," Mr. Eric said, reaching into his worn leather bag and pulling out a small, well-used book. "This helped me when I was where you are. It's called The Art of Simple Living. Maybe it'll help you too." Jake hesitated for a moment before taking the book. "Thank you," he said sincerely. "I'll give it a read." Mr. Eric smiled again, a calmness radiating from him. "Take your time with it. Simplicity is a journey, not a destination." They talked for a while longer, about life, work, and the city. Mr. Eric spoke of how life wasn't meant to be lived in constant pursuit of the next big thing, but rather in the quiet moments of appreciation, presence, and purpose. When Jake finally left the park, the book tucked under his arm, he felt lighter somehow, as if the conversation had lifted a weight he didn't even realize he was carrying. That night, back in his apartment, Jake opened the book. Its pages were filled with stories, advice, and wisdom on embracing a simpler way of life. The ideas resonated deeply with him. The book spoke of decluttering, not just physically, but mentally letting go of the unnecessary burdens we carry, focusing on what truly matters, and finding peace in the present moment. A weekend of transformation. Inspired, Jake decided to put some of the book's principles into practice. The first step was decluttering his apartment. Over the weekend, he went through every room, sorting through his belongings. He realized that many of the objects he had surrounded himself with were there to fill a void that possessions could never truly fill. His apartment was filled with gadgets he rarely used, clothes he didn't wear, and decor that had been chosen for style rather than meaning. The process of letting go wasn't easy. Each item seemed to carry a memory or a what-if attached to it, but the more he let go, the more liberated he felt. By the end of the weekend, his apartment felt lighter, more open, and so did Jake. He realized that the things he had been holding onto were distractions, keeping him from focusing on what truly mattered, his inner peace. Next, Jake turned his attention to his work. He started organizing his tasks more efficiently, focusing only on what truly mattered, and delegating the rest. He began prioritizing quality over quantity, striving to complete fewer tasks but with more intention. This shift not only improved his productivity, but also reduced his stress levels. For the first time in years, Jake found himself leaving the office on time, feeling accomplished rather than drained. But it wasn't just his workspace that needed simplifying. Jake began questioning the nature of his work itself. Why was he working so hard? For what purpose? Was it to meet some societal expectation? Or was it because he genuinely found joy in the work? These questions stirred something deep within him, an awareness that his life had been on autopilot for too long. Cultivating mindfulness. As Jake continued to embrace simplicity, he incorporated mindfulness into his daily routine. Each morning, instead of rushing to check his phone or emails, he spent a few minutes meditating or simply sitting in silence. This new habit brought a profound sense of calm to his days. He learned to be present, to appreciate the small moments of peace amidst the chaos. On his subway rides to work, instead of plugging into his phone or reading emails, Jake would observe the world around him. He noticed things he had never seen before: the way the sunlight filtered through the train windows, the soft hum of the city's rhythm. These small moments of mindfulness gave him a newfound appreciation for life's simplicity. Over time, Jake's life began to change in ways he hadn't expected. His relationships improved. He started spending more quality time with his friends and family, engaging in meaningful conversations rather than mindlessly scrolling through his phone. He reconnected with his parents, who lived in a quieter part of the city, and realized how much he missed their presence. He began reaching out to friends he had lost touch with, arranging casual coffee meetups. No longer consumed by work's demands, he made time for activities he truly enjoyed, like hiking in the nearby hills or reading a good book in the park. Nature, which he had previously overlooked, became his sanctuary, a place where he could reconnect with himself and find peace. Sharing the journey, months passed, and Jake's transformation became evident to those around him. His colleagues noticed that he was less stressed and more focused. His friends commented on how relaxed and content he seemed, and Jake felt it too. The constant weight he had carried for years had lifted, replaced by a sense of clarity and purpose. Feeling inspired by his own journey, Jake decided to share what he had learned with others. He started a blog, writing about his experiences with simplicity, mindfulness, and intentional living. His honest, heartfelt post resonated with people, and the blog quickly gained a following. Readers from all over the world shared their own stories of how they, too, had found peace in simplicity. Encouraged by the response, Jake began hosting workshops and giving talks on the power of simple living. His authenticity and passion drew people in, and soon, he found himself helping others make positive changes in their own lives. Through this work, Jake discovered a new sense of fulfillment. Helping others find peace and happiness was far more rewarding than the material success he had once pursued. A new beginning. Years went by, and Jake continued to live by the principles of simplicity. His life was a testament to the power of letting go and embracing what truly mattered. He wrote his own book, Simplicity: The Key to a Fulfilling Life, which became a bestseller and touched the lives of countless people. His story inspired future generations to rethink their priorities, to value peace and mindfulness over the endless pursuit of more. One evening, as Jake sat on his balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky with hues of orange and pink, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. His journey had taken him from the chaos of the metropolis to the peace of a simple, fulfilling life. And in that moment, as the breeze gently rustled the trees, Jake knew that he had found the true secret to happiness: the power of simplicity. If you are enjoying this video, please subscribe to the channel